Hey y'all, it's Jasmine C. Garner. Welcome back to my channel if you are a subscriber, and welcome if you are brand new. My name is Jasmine. I am a body image and self-esteem coach. I'm an evangelist, an entrepreneur, and I wanted to share a video that I did back in 2017 with Joe Baker. This was the first time I had met him, and I believe at that point he was like a year fresh out of jail. If some of you don't know, Joe Baker did 10 years in prison, wrote 3 books, and he's now like telling his story. God has really blessed him in a mighty way. He has over 100K YouTube subscribers, almost a million TikTok. God has really taken his story and used it to bless a lot of people. And so the purpose of my video is to share an opening of that interview that we did. He ended up reaching out to me. I had a magazine called Entertaining God Magazine, and I used to post like Christian artists, Christian content, just elevating and edifying Christian creators. And he ended up like sending me a DM or a face. I can't remember if it was Facebook or Instagram, but he ended up reaching out asking me for an interview. And it was one of the first interviews I ever did for my magazine. And it was a really great conversation. I ended up going to one of the malls he was at in Nashville, where he was selling his book by hand. He would rent these kiosks or these booths every weekend, and he would go post up and, talk about his book to people. And it was a really great experience, and so I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I also wanted to extend an invitation to you. I am privileged to be one of the people on his marketing team that works on his website, helps him get those emails sent out, all those types of things. You guys, the year is basically over, and I don't know how you guys feel about your business plans, your goals. I don't know if you felt like you've accomplished anything, but I want to extend the invitation to help you with your marketing plan. I offer free consultations. It's only 30 minutes long. You get to tell me what your business goals are, what your plans are, how you can really maximize content, maximize social media, whether you need a website, whether you need social media management. I have a team who helps me do that. Just like Joe Baker is telling his story, you have a story that somebody needs to hear as well. So I want to offer that to you guys. In the link in my description, you can click to set up a free consultation with me, and we'll just have a good time on the phone talking about how you can walk in the purpose that God has for you. You know, it's a new year coming up, and people have all these resolutions, but if you don't get behind that with some action, you ain't gonna never see anything come to pass. So I just want to offer that to you guys. And with that being said, enjoy this interview. I think it was like 2017. It's been a while, so enjoy it. Hey, Jasmine here with Entertaining God Magazine, founder and editor of Entertaining God Magazine. I'm here with Joe Baker, and we just met like last week, and his story, y'all, his testimony is like very powerful, because he just got out of prison. He did 10 years. He just got out last year, and he's like wrote 3 books. He's rapping, like he's doing so much from what we hear. And you know, we hear a lot of stories on television about prison life and all of that, and he actually had the opportunity to share with After Prison YouTube channel, and he talked about what life was like in prison. He did like a video. Like I'm gonna put the link in the description so you guys can check that out. Like it was really really deep. But I'm here with him in Nashville at the mall, and he is pushing his book. It is called The Life Sunday to Sunday, and I get a free copy. I'm excited. I can't wait to read it.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's dope. And he has a CD as well that he's here, that he's sharing. And so we got the chance to link up, and I want you guys to hear his story. So I want you to share, like, how did you get into prison, and like, what was that experience like for you?
Well, I went to prison. My original charges was special aggravated robbery, special aggravated kidnapping, and first degree murder. I ended up getting charged with special aggravated robbery, and that's somebody actually lost their life in the commission of another crime. But that was why I got locked up. But my prison experience was crazy, because going in, I've lived a certain type of way all my life. So going in, it was pretty much the norm to me. People were selling drugs, and there was women in prison, people were gang banging, they were doing everything that I was pretty much doing on the street. So it was crazy because it was just like I just left a world that I was so used to, and it was like I stepped into another world that I was like that I thought was going to be completely different, and come to find out it was pretty much the same. It was just a lot more dangerous because you're in a more secluded area, and then you have a lot more people who think and live exactly the same way as you. So that was the only thing that I think stood out the most to me as far as my experience goes. But the craziest experience I had was when I got moved to a certain prison when I was in the cell with my father. When I was in the cell with my dad, and that was, I was at the point where I was like, man, something got to change there, because it's like, I'm sitting in the cell with my father, and we got 2 life sentences, and I'm sitting here and I got an 11-year sentence at 30%. But I was going with an officer who worked in the prison at the time, who was bringing in drugs, and we were still doing what we were doing. We was, we were just living basically how we wanted to live. I had everything that I wanted, all kinds of shoes, all kinds of clothes, all kinds of whatever food that I wanted. I lived exactly the same way I was living in the street. But I remember getting up one morning. I got up to use the bathroom, and when I got to use the bathroom, I washed my hands, and of course in the cell, it's like a bathroom. The cell is pretty much a bathroom, so everything in the cell. And I turned around and I looked at my dad, and he was sleeping. And I was like, man, something gotta change. At that point, I was like, something off about this. How am I in the cell with my dad who got 2 life sentences? I'm like 6 years in my sentence. We're selling drugs together. And, this is crazy. This is out of hand. So, that was the beginning of the experience. Yeah.
I had never heard nothing like that before. When I watched that, y'all gotta go watch that interview on After Prison Show. I was like, how do you get in prison with your dad? And like, I just thought about, it just made me think about the Lord and how he works and how mysterious he is. And I was just like, that's a powerful testimony.
Yeah, I felt like that a lot of times too, because I felt like I needed that. I think it was the point where I felt whole, even under the circumstances I was in, I felt like I got to know a piece of me that I needed to know that I didn't. A lot of people grow up without their father, and I think it's very important to have, a father figure in your life. But to get around my dad, man, and watch him sometime, it was like, to even hear him laugh, I was like, he sound like me. Or certain ways he moved and how he talked to people, his charisma, I'd be like, I would have did that the same way. I remember the first time we went outside together, we was walking around what they call the big yard outside. And this guy was walking behind us, and he was like, hey, Joe T, who was that walking with you? And we turned around pretty much at the same time. He was like, man, and we looked just alike. So it was good to just get all them experiences, even though we're, under the circumstances we was in.
Yeah.
But after that, man, it was like, what, I felt whole. I felt whole. And we ended up getting separated because, like I said, we were dealing drugs and stuff together. And the prison I went to, my dad's brother was my uncle, who got a 75-year sentence. But when I got to this prison, he was a big gang member too. And he had got out of the gang and gave his life to Christ. So this is where I was like, I want to see what that's about. Because I used to send my uncle drugs to prison before I came to prison. So I was like, this is the first time I'm like, I want to see if he's for real. Because I had never seen nobody actually trying to live out the word at home. Like, we went to church, but I ain't never seen nobody like actually trying to live out the word. The first time somebody ever laid their hands and prayed for me was inside of a cell. So that was major to me. So to get around my uncle and actually watch it, I'm like, okay. The smallest thing stood out to me. I'm like, he don't even cuss. So I was like, I don't know people that don't cuss. That stood out to me. And so it was certain things that he didn't indulge in, certain conversations he would walk away from, and I'd be like, he tripping. Uncle lost his mind in there. It's too like, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, you know what? Whatever that is he got, man, it's real. You know what I'm saying? It's different. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like the world. And I was like, it was a good difference.
Yeah.
It was a healthy difference. I watched him, he still had a lot of respect. And I think that was the biggest thing about me. I was like, man, how am I going to live this and keep my respect? And, stuff like that. Because people in prison, you change, talking about, I'm going to start serving Jesus. They like, oh, you soft. You pretty much turn into a joke, like a pushover. People think you're using it for protection, all kind of different stuff. But I watched my uncle, I was like, nah, he got more respect living like that. Not only do he got more respect, he got more favor. It was just so much he could do. other people couldn't do. I was like, man, I gotta have it. So I end up actually surrendering in its fullness when I went up for my third time of parole and I got denied. And this time I think I was playing church. I'm praying, I'm going to church. I'm doing everything you feel like you got to do to get something from God. So when they denied me my third time, I remember walking back. It was the longest walk of my life. And when I was really just questioning God, I'm like, if you who you say, I'm like, dang, I've been going to church, I've been praying, I've been doing everything. Why is it they denied me again? And I got two more years to do. I'm like, man, I'm ready to go home. And I was like, I'd rather go back to doing what I've been doing versus getting my hopes up and thinking God just finna open up the windows of heaven and anything just finna change. I was like, man, now God, now look, we're gonna have to get some kind of understanding here. now, if I won't be living with you, there's certain things you're gonna have to do for me. It's just how I felt. But and so after sitting in my cell for about 3 days, my sailor was like, what are you gonna do? And that's pretty much how the book came about. I said, man, I'll write a book. And he laughed. He busted out laughing. Because there's so many people talking about, I'm gonna write a book, I'm gonna do this and that and do this in prison. So I said, hey, I'm in my tablets. I wrote maybe the first 14 chapters in like 3 days, just pouring my heart out. Different experiences I've had, certain things I've heard other people ask about God. If God is real, why is this and why is that? So I just started writing it down, and he was real firm into the word. So I would ask him, hey, what's a good scripture that'll fit for the conversation I'm having with the characters? And he would give me scriptures. Before you knew it, hey, I started reading and studying for myself. I started seeing who I was in Christ. So that's how the transformation actually took place and how the book came about. Pretty much just like
And
that.
it's this one?
Yeah, it's the first one. Yeah, it's the first one. Yeah.
So,
The Life's Under the Sun.
Okay, so from my understanding, you wrote 3 books.
Right.
This one in prison and the other 2 in prison.
Right.
So I know y'all have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like my father he was in and out of prison, and we wrote a lot of letters and stuff. So I know he had a lot of time to read and reflect, and go to the services and all that. It's a lot of time. So you writing 3 books, I could see it as possible, but what's really like getting me is like, how did that come all out? Like, like what was that motivation to write 3?
Well, most of the motivation came from once I started writing. Like I started to be able to get a lot of stuff off my chest about how I felt about life, how I felt about people, and how I was feeling about God. So once I started writing it, it was like I was being able to express a lot of things I think I couldn't say to people or get the right answer from people. So, and then on top of that, I got a daughter. My daughter's 14 years old now, and I didn't get to see her the whole time I was in prison. So when I started writing it, I also wanted to show that I didn't just sit in here and waste my time. Because I've seen a lot of people who sit in there and waste their time, like literally do nothing but sell drugs and do drugs and gangbang. That's it. And once I started looking at life a different way, I was like, man, I don't want to get out of here. Or my daughter think, well, you just sit in prison and then do nothing. And so that was my motivation. That was, my relationship, better my relationship, try to get a better understanding of who I was and why the world is the way it is and who is God and who am I in God and my daughter. That was it. And my community, I done did a lot of stuff where I'm from. I wanted people to be able to see that not only change is possible, but you can do something different. So.
Wow. That's like, I think about writing books, but I mean.
And I didn't never get tired. Once I finished the first one, I was on fire. I just wanted to keep writing. Yeah.
Wow. So you feel like, you know what? I've seen a lot of your videos already online, and just the way that you bring out the word. Do you think you have like the gift of knowledge? I think you have the gift of knowledge because the way you bring out, you interpret the scripture.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I ain't never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's scary. It's scary. It's humbling because, like I said, I come from a life doing pretty much everything you can think of. And so once I started getting revelation, and even when people say that, it always brings the fear in my heart of the responsibility that come with being able to do that. And a lot of people I don't think they really see it or get it like that because God reveals his secret to those he loves. When you're able to talk and explain stuff like that, it's only one person to come from. So when it comes to that, man, I love to do it, but at the same time, it's like sometimes I still ask God, why me? You know what I'm saying? Because I'd rather you can get this to somebody else because you get this because it's a lot. It's a lot to know that you have a direct connect with the creator of all things. It's amazing.
Yeah, I feel you with that because I know when I'm doing my videos, when I'm writing a blog, I like fear does come in my heart. Like I really got to carry this. I got to live it out.
Yeah.
I have to be studying and show myself approved,
Right.
like the scripture says.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, Lord.
Yeah, that's serious, man. It's serious. Yeah, it's serious. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't get that. It's a lot come with this life. A lot come with this life, man. And it's just a charge you have to put on your life. And the thing I'm learning right now is to tell the truth even when people don't want to hear it. Because it run a lot of people out. Since I've been home this year, it's a lot of people have distanced themselves from me because of the stuff I say. But that's a part of living for. Yeah.
Definitely. And I will say this: he has bars that are so anointed. Like when I was first scrolling on his stuff, I was because I love music. Everybody loves music. You know, music is like therapy for some people.
Right.
And so when I was watching your video, I was like, see, these bars are anointed. Like, so y'all need to check this out. Like, is some of those bars like come from this or just like freestyle?
Most of my music, I ain't gonna say it come right off my head, but I don't write none of my music. I pretty much can say it and remember it.
Yeah.
But that CD, none of the stuff that's on Facebook. Well, some of the stuff that's on Facebook is on the album.
Okay.
But that album is my life.
Yeah.
If somebody got that CD and didn't meet me, they met me.
Oh,
It's my story, straight through, nothing sugar coated, and it's testimonial. But it's a lot of everything I said was in love, it was in truth. But a lot of stuff that you probably seen here recently, I think it's because I've been freed up. I've got a lot of stuff off my chest that and I've been able to go to another level and say different stuff. Yeah.
I was like,
whoa.
Yeah. Is he pursuing like rap? Like, I think we can make it. But it's all for the Lord. Because you told me that you were using rap and your lyrics as a way to reach the youth.
Right.
So, like, how has that been working for you?
It's been good, man. I recently started doing music like a month and a half ago. My uncle, because I'm still in contact with my uncle who helped me get to where I was at. He was like, when you gonna do your music? When you gonna do your music? And I feel like I was at a place where I could start doing it. But it's just like what you were just saying. It's being received, and I think it was the right time, and a lot of young people are listening because I think it's different. And I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I'm not over spiritually. I'm me. And this is my relationship, and this is, and it's doing pretty good.
That's good. We need more of that. Don't y'all agree? Like, we need more of that honesty, that real, like the raw truth.
Right.
Instead of people trying to sprinkle all this superficial stuff.
Right.
So, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that because what I'm doing, like, that helps. Like, we're all, the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to help one another, to uplift each other. Like, there's no part of the body that is useless.
Right.
So the fact that you're doing that and you're authors, like, I'm excited about that because we can reach more people like that. So y'all heard it from Joe Baker, author. He did 10 years in prison. Can you imagine? And then getting out like with 3 books and then rapping, y'all. Like, I'm gonna put in the description the full interview from his after prison show interview, and you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
Like, he took y'all inside the cell, like everything. You have to watch it.
Yeah.
And make sure, I'm gonna put in the description as well, like where you can get a copy of his books. And stay in contact with him. Like, really, like help a brother out. Help share some of his videos, and because this is really a powerful story that people need to hear, and we need to hear yours too if you have one.
Right.
So thank you guys, and see you next time.
Y'all be blessed.